Let me just say it straight. What's happening in Cleveland right now is unreal.
Absolutely.
Insane. You ever watch something so loud, so clear, so in your face? And yet somehow, the people in charge act like it's invisible. That's what this feels like, because while the Browns front office sits behind microphones, smiling for cameras, spinning this neat little fairy tale about DILLON Gabriel being the future, there's a completely different story playing out right in front of them. And it's not quiet, it's not subtle, it's screaming. Let's talk about Gabriel. I wanted to root for the kid, I really did. But this isn't it. The guy is missing bubble screens. He's throwing hospital balls into coverage, sailing. Passes, hesitating, overthrowing, basically throwing away any shred of confidence you might have had in him. He went 3-for-14 at open camp. 3 completions. 14 throws. Do you know how bad you have to be for coaches, reporters, even teammates to start side-eyeing each other like, wait, are we seriously watching this happen? Now flip the field. Shedeur Sanders, no headlines, no hype, no first-team reps, is out there putting on a clinic. NFL caliber reads, pocket poise, patience, precision, throwing guys open, hitting windows you can barely see unless you're up in the film room with a laser pointer. It's not just completing passes, he's dominating. For 70% completion, no turnovers, day after day of elite performance. And he's doing it with the third string. Let that sink in. Third team. Every measurable, every intangible. Leadership, accuracy, mechanics, decision-making, all of it screams one thing. Shedeur is the best quarterback on that field. And yet, somehow, the front office is doubling down on a fantasy, pretending Gabriel is the guy. Giving him reps he hasn't earned, opportunities he hasn't justified. That's not development, that's denial. But here's the cold truth about the NFL draft status is everything. Your pick number isn't just a number, it's your identity, it's your badge. And the people upstairs will cling to it like gospel because admitting they were wrong. That's harder than losing games, and that's exactly what's happening. Here, they didn't pick Gabriel because he outshined the field. They're sticking with him because they picked him. Because the thought of being shown up by a later-round kid, a kid with a famous father, a spotlight of his own, and the confidence to command a room that's terrifying to them. This isn't about football. It's about pride. But here's what they're not seeing. You can't lie to a locker room. Not forever. These players aren't stupid. They see what's going on. The veterans, the DBs, the receivers catching Shedeur's darts in practice. They know who's real, and they know who's not. They also know why Shedeur isn't getting his shot. It's not about readiness. It's not about giving him time. It's about control. Because the league has a Deion Sanders problem. They loved him when he was high-stepping into the end zone, when he was shutting down WR1 South and collecting rings. But now he's a father, a coach, a leader, a man building something powerful on his own terms, and not asking for approval that scares them. And Shedeur, he's walking that same path, calm, articulate, polished, confident. He doesn't ask for opportunities, he commands them. And that makes people uncomfortable, especially the ones who still think swagger is a liability. Let's be honest, Shedeur didn't fall in the draft because of the tape. He fell because they wanted to send a message. But now, it's a film. Is sending one back. The fans? Oh, they see it. Browns fans aren't fools. They know football. They see what's happening. They're tired of the lies, tired of the politics. Tired of watching Gabriel go 3-for-14 and somehow move up the depth chart while Shedeur throws 6 touchdowns, 0 picks, hits 71% of his passes with fewer reps, and still gets left behind. That's not a competition. That's a cover-up. And when fans on Reddit are breaking down practice film with more accuracy than the coaching staff. We've got a real problem, and it's about to get worse because preseason is coming. And when Gabriel takes that first drive, and it's another 3 and out, and Shedeur's still holding a clipboard. That pressure's going to explode. Reporters are going to start asking real questions. The locker room's going to start cracking, because now it's not just about two quarterbacks. It's about who this franchise is. It's about what kind of team you want to be. Do you reward performance, a K, or do you protect your mistakes, a coup? If you lie to your players long enough, they stop trusting you. And when trust is gone, the season is already over. And all of this could have been avoided. Just let the best man win. That's it? That simple? But instead, the Browns front office chose pride over truth. Loyalty to a draft pick over loyalty to reality, and it's going to cost them. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just better than DILLON Gabriel, he's way better. So much better that we shouldn't even be having this debate anymore. And if this keeps going, if Shedeur's still waiting on the sidelines by mid-season while Gabriel wastes drive after drive, burns clock, kills momentum. Don't act surprised when Shedeur walks, and don't act surprised when he signs with another team in 2026. Torches Cleveland under the lights, throws for 3 touchdowns in front of a crowd that begged to see him play, and walks off with that look on his face that says, "Y'all did this." Because that moment is coming. This is bigger than a QB battle. This is about leadership, identity, integrity. A GM, a scouting department, and a coaching staff looked at a jittery, inconsistent, undersized quarterback with bad mechanics and said, "He's our guy." And they looked at Shedeur.com, composed, tested by fire, and passed, all because he didn't fit the mold. But that mold, it's cracked. And the longer you try to force it, the more pieces fall off. And hey, for the real fans still here, I've got something for you. We're launching a giveaway. If you think you know who's starting week 1 for the Browns, drop your prediction. In the comments right now, smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, because 5 lucky people are winning official game jerseys on me. The more you comment, the better your chances. Let's grow this thing. Let's build a real football community, one that sees the truth and isn't afraid to say it. Now, back to Friday's practice, the day the mask came off. Gabriel didn't just have a bad day, he got exposed. High throws, bad reads, shaky footwork. And while all that chaos played out on one side, Shedeur, locked in, calm, surgical. Like it was his team already, and yet somehow, he's still waiting. Still stuck behind a guy who keeps proving every day that he's not the answer. That's not competition. That's politics, and that's how franchises stay stuck. But it doesn't have to be this way. So to the Browns leadership, if you're watching, if you're listening, if you care even a little bit about what's happening on that field. And this nonsense. Protecting your future instead of your ego. Start Shedeur Sanders before someone else does and makes you regret it for the next decade because you had the chance and you blew it. I've been watching football long enough to know when something doesn't feel right, when the game on the field doesn't match the story being told, when a player's narrative is shaped more by old-school bias and quiet fear than by what he's actually doing in pads. And right now, that player is Shedeur Sanders. From the jump, the league tried to box him in. 5th rounder, nepotism, flashy, too polished, too proud. They wrote him off before his jersey number was even stitched. But what's happening in Cleveland right now? It's bigger than a camp storyline. It's not some footnote in a preseason report. This is a cultural moment. This is a shift, a quiet quarterback war playing out behind closed doors and open eyes. And if you've been watching with your head and your gut, you already feel it. Because what we saw at practice wasn't just a rough day. was a mirror. And what it reflected back at the Browns franchise wasn't pretty. DILLON Gabriel, the third-round pick, the guy the front office backed, he showed up and went 3-for-14 in practice. No live defense, no blitzes, just controlled drills. And it looked like he'd never opened a playbook. No rhythm, no reads, no poise. Every throw felt like a gamble, not a calculated risk, more like blindfolded guesses. And while all of that was unfolding, Shedeur Sanders was out there slicing up the same drills like a surgeon. 7-for-10, a touchdown. Collected like the moment belonged to him, because it did. And here's the kicker. Shedeur didn't get those reps because the Browns believed in him. He didn't get a setup designed for success, okay? He made his moment count in spite of the system. Gabriel was handed second-team reps, the structure, the spotlight, and fumbled all of it. Meanwhile, Shedeur got less support, fewer snaps, and made every one of them look like gold. This isn't development anymore. This is damage control. The Browns front office is clinging to their investment. It's trying to make their pick work, even as the evidence piles up that they got it wrong. And let's be real, if Shedeur Sanders had a different last name, hey if he didn't. Come with that swagger, that brand, that Dion Prime aura, he'd already be QB1. But because he does, suddenly, he's a project. A kid who needs to be humbled. Meanwhile, the guy who looked absolutely lost in a padded walkthrough gets treated like a franchise bet. Gabriel wasn't just off, he was unplayable. A pick, missed throws, couldn't find a rhythm, and this wasn't against starters. This was Cleveland's own practice field. It's designed to build up confidence, and he still looked like a deer in headlights. Now, flip the script. Same field, less help, more pressure, and Shedeur. Under fire, clean footwork, sharp decisions. Release? You could feel the energy shift the moment he took the huddle. The team responded. The sideline leaned in. This wasn't influencer hype. This was leadership. That's what a real quarterback looks like. And let's be honest, if their stats were swapped, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But because it's Shedeur putting up the 71% completion rate, the 6 touchdowns, no picks, suddenly it's complicated. Suddenly it's let's wait and see. Here's what the numbers say. Shedeur's 54-70 in camp. That's 71.4%. 6 TDs. No interceptions. Gabriel. 51-447. That's 58.6% with 2 picks. He's thrown 17 more passes and completed just 1 more. That's not growth, it's a forced narrative. A front office afraid to admit they miscalculated. They want Gabriel to be the guy because they stake their reputation on it. But football doesn't care about your ego. The tape doesn't lie. And right now, the tape says Shedeur is the best quarterback on that field. Period. And yeah, Shedeur's not the quiet, mold-fitting pick. He's loud, he's unapologetic, he's Dion's son. And that shakes the old guard. But guess what? The game is changing. The league is changing. The quarterback position is changing. And if the Browns don't change with it, they're going to miss their shot because Shedeur Sanders isn't just a name. He's not a brand, he's not a narrative, he's a quarterback. It's a starter, a leader, and if the Browns don't see it, the fans will, the players will, and the league will dot by. Then, it might be too late. See, the moment Shedeur stepped on that field in Cleveland, everything shifted. This wasn't just a rookie trying to survive. This was a reckoning. It's a storm that had been building from Jackson State to Colorado to here. By day 3, his jersey wasn't just selling, it was breaking records. Outselling top rookies from the last 3 years combined. Not hype, not trend. That's loyalty. That's connection. That's real. You don't move merch like that because of a last name. You do it because people see something in you they haven't seen before. You do it because you stand for something, because your light's too bright, too dim, and this wasn't. Handed to him. Remember on draft day, Shedeur dropped to round 5 after dominating at Colorado. After owning the NIL space, after being camera-ready, media-trained, and balling on the field, and then, boom, a $100 million lawsuit hits the league. Accusations of discrimination, of image bias. The media stayed quiet, but the fans didn't. The whispers got louder. Too confident, too polished, too much like Prime. But it wasn't about kneeling, wasn't about controversy. It was about power, presence, control. Because Shedeur doesn't play the role, he writes it, he doesn't fold, he commands. And when a local reporter tried to bait him in his first Browns presser, he didn't flinch. Just leaned back and said, "I'm here to talk football.com. Surgical. No theatrics." That's a real QB. That's presence. That's danger to the old system. Then came camp. Forget Flacco. Forget Pickett. Forget Gabriel. Day 1 belonged to Shedeur. The fans knew. The energy knew. Warm-ups felt like a show. The huddle felt like his. The throws were tight. The crowd responded. It was a clinic. Gabriel, meanwhile, was just there. Inconsistent, not terrible. But in this game, not terrible doesn't get you the job, especially when the other guy is out here making it look easy. Even the OTAs backed it up 77%. Completion rate for Shedeur, 9 TDs, 1 pick, off a tip. That's real. And now those same patterns are showing up in camp under a bigger spotlight. People are noticing. Reporters are calling it like they see it. Sanders deserves to win this job outright, and they're right. Because here's the truth. Shedeur Sanders is the moment, and if the Browns don't move soon, they're going to waste it. So if you've been watching this with me, drop your thoughts in the comments. What are you seeing? Are you feeling the shift too? This isn't just about Cleveland. This isn't just about Shedeur EOR. This is about the league trying to hold back a storm that's already here. And trust me, the storm's just getting started.